Bingi, Okavango, Rasdada, Yaga, Chuck Fender, the Living Fire represent to the fullest. See? Perfect balance. Don't know so. Third class. Living Fire represent. Keep the fire burning out. What Emmanuel I keep it like right. This is it.
Conflict resolution is something that should be on the curriculum to teach humans from as early as preschool.
Conflict resolution can be taught, man. We can learn anything that we want to learn. And if it's in the name of peace, we should embrace it and do everything in our powers to make sure that peace reigns over our
But today on the third class, we have all our reasoning on a topic which we think is very relevant to African people internationally. And I think it's something that we need to have special attention made of in this thing. And this is conflict resolution, right? When we look around the world, we see a lot of turmoil. We see a lot of places in physical conflicts, right? And when we look on even a more small scale, even in communities, and so we see a lot of people in conflicts as well. Sometimes it might not end up to be physical, but somebody blocking your driveway or somebody not putting out their garbage on time and, not cleaning up the things they should be cleaning up. So it causes a lot of issues between people. And I find that a lot of times and I don't want to just restrict this to African people, but I think that as humans, a lot of time we're not very keen on how we resolve conflicts. And sometimes we view resolution of conflicts from a one-dimensional perspective, and most time that perspective is one of violence, So we want to look at it like on the third class to see like conflict resolution, like, is this something that is real? Is this a real thing that there can be conflict resolution? And is there a need for conflict resolution? So we have really reason about this on the third class and see what we can really come up to for the people, So what do you have them say?
Yeah, so I think conflict, when we talk about conflict and conflict resolutions, conflicts, I think, will always be part of human experience. I don't think there's no time where we would never see conflict, right? Maybe in the way it happens now, it wasn't in the past, right? As far as the amount of people who actually are affected, but that's just natural, right? That's human progression. To have more people on the earth now than it had then. So it's going to affect more people than it would have then, and then technology as well. But I don't think there's conflict resolution. When we say that word, we use that term, in fact, conflict resolution, we got to think about what conflict resolution really mean and how it really come about, right? So I think that would be the first thing, right? Conflict resolution is based on a conflict. But can you really have a resolution to a conflict? Does it really get resolved? And that's the whole thing. And I think that's why we see men repeating the same mistakes all the time. War, then, right? Conflict of war, for example. How do men sit and determine that millions of lives are not worth anything, right? Based on greed or disagreement, but always that disagreement is still based on something physical, right? Gaining something, right? Whether it's dominance, minerals, whatever it is. So I'm saying conflict resolution is a term that really doesn't resolve conflicts. Somebody comes out the winner, somebody's the loser wants back what he had, or it vice versa. I think it's something in human nature then. That conflict itself is something that deals with human nature. But as we see it now in this world and how it affects people through wars and starvation and dominance and inequalities, that I don't think will change. I don't think it's meant to be changed. I think that is how we who understand or say this is right or this is wrong, which really don't really exist. we take a side, we choose a side. So it's dual. If there's no conflict, we wouldn't be talking about it, right? We just wouldn't be talking about it because it's not there. So that's why we can speak about it in a dual aspect. Conflict resolution. But no, there will be no resolution to conflicts when it comes to humanity in small groups. Maybe you live in a country somewhere and it's nice and quiet and nothing really, but conflict is still there, just on a smaller scale,
Mhm.
right? So, no,
Yeah,
conflict resolution, no.
yeah, and just to add to what Bengi is saying, as humans and even just as living beings, there are gonna be conflict. And as humans, it's like even though we are all human, we are still individuals, and individuals are gonna always have difference in opinion, difference in thinking, difference in the way how they see things. You know what I mean? So you're gonna always have a little conflict here and there. But we are in a situation right now where we think that there is too much conflict and too much unnecessary conflict that can be, like resolved quickly or not even happen in the first place. Conflicts for selfish means, for selfish gains. And we should be able to reach a resolution or something to stop these things from going on. For we're talking about like wars and people dying. And sometimes it's just a simple agreement between two men, and they send people to die because they have some kind of difference in opinion. And this is a Pan-African trad class, right? We all know that when a war starts or when those conflicts start, is poor people die. The underprivileged. You know what I mean? Those are the people that die the most. The soldiers are poor people, and the people that the civilians are always poor people. And black people in that situation right now, where we are we are always the poor people. We are always in that area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always in that scene. So it affects black people the most. So these things affect black people the most. So that's why we need to find solutions, stop these things from happening before they even start. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, man.
Yes, I. You see, a lot of these conflicts that we experience on a microscopic level and a macro level is basically as a result of mistrust between individuals. It could be mistrust between countries. Seeing, I will cite some examples. For instance, when we look at World War One and how World War One started out, it was a mistrust between the Nazis and the French because they start putting up defense against each other's border, and whatever they discussed and they agreed, nobody want to agree to it, and the next one start moving closer. As a result of becoming threatened and can't go it alone, them even form alliance with people who them don't normally get along with, because it bolster them defense and it bolster them security. Them find it necessary for work together upon the level there. So we see them can work even though them are arch rivals and arch enemies. To this time here, we see the same thing happening. Fast forward to today, where we see a massive war go on, a lot of conflict go on in a lot of little places. And we see the reasons why these things are happening again. It is as a result of minerals, it is as a result of land, it is as a result of oil, as being mentioned earlier. Seeing? And we see some people are trying to say, all right, make we put an end to the war. But there's a certain set of people who is in bent and pushing that war and maintaining that war for a longer time because it suits and it benefits them interests. So these are also reasons why these things happen. Now we see it filter down on a microscopic level where people are having the same set of conflicts and failing to resolve these conflicts because they fail to see eye to eye and can't agree on where to draw the line and where to end it.
Yeah. Just to even relate to what Bingi and Okavango were saying earlier, right? Where they're saying that, these are natural, like conflicts are natural occurrences within humanity, right? So I will succeed to that and acknowledge that yes, these are natural things, right? But there are a lot of natural things that happen within the human existence that over time we have learned how to deal with them or create programs or plan courses of action in order to deal with these natural occurrences, right? So conflict being one of these natural occurrences, is there a need for a prescribed or guided course of action in order to control or minimize conflicts?
Yeah, absolutely. You should have something in place, but here's the problem. We're talking about conflict resolution. And the reason why, again, we're talking about that because there's something called conflict. What we see in the conflict resolution that they have in place, which is what the eye is asking, there's something in place where you actually learn leaders, army generals, leaders of countries and generals and whoever else, right? They learn this thing called conflict resolution, and it's something that they taught, right? But yet, these are the same people who decide to go into conflict, right? But you're
Right.
taught, so why isn't that conflict resolution that you have been taught being implemented? Why aren't you using what they have taught you to do instead of doing something opposite? And here's the thing. The teacher is teaching, but the student is not learning.
No, they are learning, They are learning, but because of strategic interests,
So,
that supersedes
absolutely.
what the
Yeah, but
convention
but
is.
but but that's what we saying though. Why isn't it working? Because think about this. Even if you would have seen the best interest of humanity is for all to work together and share what they have. This unified understanding where you have this, I have this, we share, right? Because if we share, we all participate in every resource on planet Earth. But it doesn't work like that because it's not intended to work like that. That strategy that they're talking about, like the I say, is why we have conflict. So conflict resolution is supposed to bring us to that point where we understand that all we have could be shared for all. All human beings could live in decency, have access to water, energy, food, having those things, those necessary and basic needs for all, right? If conflict resolution was implemented in the way it's supposed, that's what we would be seeing. So I'm saying conflict resolution is not understood at all.
Yeah. And Bingy, and remember the conflict resolution come after the conflict, So
Absolutely.
we need something before the conflict, to prevent the conflict. Because
Right.
the conflict resolution is not preventing conflict,
No.
It's just stopping the conflict from
Right.
going further. So we need something to prevent the conflict
Yes.
from happening in the
Right.
first place. And I would say as human beings, as living beings, we're gonna always have conflict, we're gonna always have disagreement. But we need something to prevent, like, so much conflict. We have like too much conflict going on in the world right now. You know what I mean? There's so much going on, so we need something to prevent those conflicts, so we don't have to use so much conflict resolution in the first place.
Although you
That was the
don't.
purpose. That was the purpose of the UN.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yes.
That was the purpose of the UN.
The UN,
Them generate more conflict
Like a
than
joke.
anything else.
yeah. The UN is just to serve. It's just to serve. Make sure the conflict don't happen to certain people, man. You know what I mean? The UN is. It could easily well just say the EU. You know what I mean? Yeah, because that's only that's just a benefit the Europeans and their friends.
Yeah.
We don't see them do anything with anywhere else. You see conflicts going on, but them originate the conflict them in South America, in Asia, in Africa, everywhere else conflict is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yaga said something earlier where he spoke about the I would say the foundations of most conflicts in terms of misunderstandings or
Trust.
But
Miss
but
what?
that but that's not
Mistrust.
the
Yeah.
origination, right? The origination is inequality.
Right.
Is inequality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what caused it, Class is non-inequality.
Right.
Power, man fighting for power. Right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So if we are aware of these things being the causes of conflicts, right? Then that would not give us a greater um advantage towards preventing, as we're saying, these conflicts are coming to an amicable resolution as well. If
Nature
you
is
understand the causes of these conflicts.
human
But that are
nature is not
sometimes
that though.
sometimes you never know what's gonna cause conflict,
Right.
You never know, like that this is gonna be because people are doing something and like there's no foresight to say, okay, this is gonna cause a conflict with somebody else. It's just somebody just have a like, oh, I have an issue with this, and it just cause a big thing.
Right.
But I think that a lot of times the reason why stuff like that happens is because there is no consideration for the other person. Because you are doing something out of ego, right? And thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. But in your action, there's no consideration for how are my actions going to affect the other person.
But
So
that's human nature though.
it is human nature, but we can't, and this is the reason why we're trying to get us to where we can say that even though it's human nature, with proper guidelines and proper planning, we can correct these things.
No, you cannot
And
correct
this is
these.
what I'm
These things are
saying.
not meant to be corrected in the
They
in the
are
We are
meant
manner
to be
connecting.
that the
corrected. They
eye is
are
We
meant
are
to
talking
be
correct
about.
nature though.
corrected.
Yeah.
We are correct nature.
If you
Yeah.
can't correct nature,
We are correct nature. You're gonna
how
always
can you
come back.
correct nature?
Yeah.
A
'Cause
lot
if we
of
say
things
if we
have
say
been
it's
done to
human
correct
nature,
nature. A lot of things
if
have
we say
been
it's
done to
human nature,
correct
that means it's something
nature.
that is
It
you know what I
inherent.
mean?
It
Immense,
inherent.
Yeah.
yeah, but there are a lot of things that were natural to us and we don't do those things anymore.
Like
Like,
Yeah.
let me see now. Like even certain things that people would eat
But you're
because of the
talking about
areas where
human
they're from.
development. That's still natural. Human development itself
but
takes you away
that's
from
evolution though. Well, okay.
different
Uh,
environments.
all right, you're onto something. Okay, we used to eat certain things one time and then we learn that this is bad for us and we evolve in not eating certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you talk about something where human depend on the survival. Because
Right.
conflicts is normally I human I say, boy, I need this to survive. You know what I mean? And
Right.
one of the first things where human once they have life, they're always trying to survive. When a baby is born, the first thing they do is cry because when they cry, it do something to the mother to say, feed me. Because they cry, say, feed me.
That's not the first reason why them cry because somebody slapped them.
No, they're going
Yes, man, that's why them cry, man. That's another the reason why them
Listen,
cry. Somebody
Dada,
slapped them, bro.
they cry because they need
Right.
you to take care of them.
After what we said, the first thing, brother. We talk about the first thing. The reason why them cry because somebody slapped them.
If no one stop a baby, once they're alive, they're gonna cry.
The first initial response, brother, we're talking about. Babies go cry. Babies are gonna cry. But when I say when a baby is born, the reason why the baby
okay,
cry,
all right.
is
Right now,
because somebody slapped them.
change my
Right.
argument.
You have to
Babies
resolve
cry
that
because
conflict.
they want to survive.
We don't need some conflict resolution.
Yeah, man.
Gosh.
Babies cry because they have this inherent thing to
Need.
survive. You know what I mean?
You're
So when they
need.
cry, a human like and they do something to a grown up. Like when a baby cry, like something in you just say, "Where's the baby? What the baby want?" You understand? So it's a survival thing.
You see.
And conflict.
Uncle Vango, even more than a survival, when you say babies cry because that's the way
Communication.
they communicate.
Communication.
Yeah, that's the way they communicate.
But conflict resolution can be taught, man. We can learn anything that we
Yes,
want to
sir.
learn. And if it's in the name of peace, we should embrace it and do everything in our powers to make sure that peace reigns over
But it
world.
would
Because
never, it would never happen, though. I don't think when we talk about conflict resolution, right, and if we put it on a micro level, like the I say, then conflict resolution has to start within human beings, within themselves. Human beings are conflicted. So because the conflict is happening within a man, That's why we will never see conflict resolution ever in place, because we don't live in societies that are holistic, that promote self-awareness, self-knowledge, because when you truly gain that, you come to a realization of oneness. What I truly want every man should have. We are not at that point. We are in decadence, in the sense that we are still feudalistic in a lot of ways, but we are governed by inequalities. That's what human beings are governed by, right? Inequalities. When you look at uh class structures, for example, who don't have resources, they're governed by inequalities. But that inequality, I'm saying, is within man's nature. It is within himself. And if he doesn't understand that, we will never have conflict resolution. Right now, how we live, we have no conflict resolution. It is
So
good
what?
to have. We're not saying
Mhm.
it is not bad to have, because now you could use it to avert certain situations, right? But does it really work globally? No.
So you're saying it's not bad to have,
No.
right? It's not bad to have.
No.
So
Um,
prisoner
It's
for
not
now,
full.
bad to have.
So prisoner for
so
full then.
Right.
Once,
Man after then
once,
that they say is real.
Junior
No.
Gang has a song, you know. Junior Gang has a song, and the lyrics of the song say, "Vexation of spirit is a waste of time.
Mistrust, right?
Negative thinking, don't you waste your
Man,
thoughts.
yeah.
Verbal conflict is a waste of words.
Yes, right.
Physical conflict is a waste of space." You see me? So, when, as I said, Bingy, that internal conflict within the item is the initial start of that process of conflict resolution. So in order to resolve conflicts, we have to first of all resolve the conflicts that exist within ourselves.
Seen.
So we are calling for that action on the part of the item, which is why I say a lot of time when we take actions just out of that ego, where we're not doing things based off of how it affects someone else. Because we are saying, oh, I'm not busy with nobody else, man. I do what I want to do.
Right.
You understand? So we have to get to a point where we can say, you know, when I do this, how will it affect someone else? Like, for example, when you live with people, right? When you live with people, and this is one of the things that cause a lot of conflicts, living with people, right? You have, as a person who live with person, somebody have to consider and say, okay, well, I'm living with someone, so therefore, I go curtail this action, or I'm go curtail that action, or so, just in the name of peace, right?
Right.
As we are saying, in the name of peace. So if we, as people, when we are doing it on a micro level, can say, okay, you know, naturally, would have want to do A, but because A might offend this person, I'm not going to do A, I'm going to do B. You understand? So we have the option and the ability to do these things. So this is what we are saying, that even on a grander scale, you know, if we really consider, as I say, you use an excellent term when you say, if we consider the well-being of humanity, right? Then we would look on things from different lenses. We wouldn't just look at it as, okay, who go make the most money or who go have claim to the most power. You understand? We would look at it and on how this is going to affect humans, not just presently either, you know, because sometimes these conflicts leave long-lasting effects that generations after come and feel the effects of these conflicts, you know. You understand? So if we're really thinking about humanity and yeah, brother Okavango said something earlier when he said Africans deal with it the most. Like when you really look at it, like I know sometimes it's like a media representation and stuff, but either way, I still hold on to it because I think that we have had too many, right? When we look on, like even Africans having these genocides, right? And when I say so many of these examples exist, where sometimes with just a little effort, these things could have been avoided and millions of lives could have been saved. You know, see it. So where I say we see it on the small micro level, we see it on the macro level, where people need to understand conflict resolution. And I think that conflict resolution is one of those things that should be taught from preschool, from preschool. conflict resolution is something that should be on the curriculum to teach humans from as early as preschool. Because don't misunderstand this, that even preschoolers, having conflicts, who did have this crayon first, and
Right.
and teaching them skills that they can develop and add on to as they grow and develop as humans as well.
Yes, it still
You know,
wouldn't change how conflicts happen. Conflicts will still happen, even
we
when you
agree.
taught
We
that.
already
Yeah,
agree with that, Bingy. We
yeah,
already agree
yeah,
Yeah.
that we're never gonna change
But
how
yeah,
conflicts happen. We're
once
talking about how we
yeah.
deal with it.
once we have conflicts, we have to have conflict resolution. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Because conflict
absolutely.
resolution prevent the conflict from getting
Worse.
out of
Out
loss
of
of
Yeah,
hand.
life, prevent loss of property,
yeah,
prevent, you know what I mean, we're going into
Yeah.
a state of you just
chaos.
killing me, and you know what I mean, chaos,
Mm,
chaos, right? But I think one of the things we should focus is conflict prevention.
right,
Conflict prevention is where we should really be at,
right,
because you know what I mean, before the conflict,
right.
you know what I mean, even start. So
Begins.
and that we say where Bingy was Yaga was saying, you know what I mean, I lose my train of thought. But
The
um
misunderstandings.
huh?
The misunderstandings.
Yeah, but misunderstanding. So you know what I mean? Somebody we should be in a state where we can say, okay, how is this gonna hurt another human being? How is this gonna hurt? You know what I mean? Somebody else. You know what I mean? And that's where we need to be. We know that it's never gonna be a perfect thing. You know what I mean? But that's where we wanna be. So we have less of these things happening, less of these things blowing up, and people getting hurt. You know what I mean? So
And mind you, I
conflict.
think that's always present too, right? I think human beings, right, most of the times are concerned, Like you and I, we always concerned, but they're not concerned enough then, right? And when I say conflict prevention, then again, you would have to shift from the type of societies that we live in now, present day, and move to something more holistic, right? So because we don't have those type of societies, what teaches you about human nature, I'm saying that, hey, conflict resolution is fine, but is no solution. There is
If
no
we need a
solution.
safer,
You have to move back to that type of living, that type of holistic environment. We're not there. Human development is really not where it should be in this point in time for the knowledge we can claim to have. For the knowledge that human beings claim to have, for you in this day and age to go out and kill masses like it's nothing, bro, it shows that you haven't even understood what you're supposed to understand. But yet, you're leading countries. You have world leaders, you're world leaders, right? And millions are dying. You have civil wars where men are making these decisions, right? Because human development is not where it's supposed to be in this
I,
time period.
I find
When
that
those things.
what again drives this is that people are driven more by profit
Mm-hmm.
than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're making decisions that affect the lives and livelihoods of sometimes the entire world, the entire Earth's population, it's made from a point of the profit margin as opposed to what's actually beneficial or harmful. So this holistic approach is a shift that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shift that needs to happen, and the trad class is
Mm-hmm.
calling for that shift because it's like, okay, two leaders come together on national television to try and resolve a conflict. And in that act of resolving a conflict, they create another conflict.
More conflict.
You understand what I'm saying? So, like,
them need
Yeah.
conflict resolution training.
But they have it. Them supposedly have it. Those are the people
uh,
who have it.
The difference, the difference is the approach. And if we need a safer society, we have to change. We must change the approach. in order for it to work and give them the tools that they will need for the
Yeah.
change, you know.
Right.
So
Which is
we
why we
have to
call
teach
for
the
it.
youth
This is why
them
we call for it from preschool.
from
Yeah,
This is
early,
why we
from
call for
early.
this from
yeah, man.
preschool. Yeah,
Human
man.
just need to know that it is not, it's just one life. You know what I mean? It's not your life or my life
Yeah.
or that
One
life.
life,
It's
And
just
it is
life.
life.
one life, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you know what I mean? Because we just have this thing where we don't value every life. We don't value all of life. So we just see our life like our life is the life that is everything, and another life, you know what I mean?
Real
But
talk.
when you take somebody's life and you show disregard to other life, it also hurt you too. It hurt people around you, hurt
Real
everybody.
talk.
You
Real
Yeah.
understand?
talk. Real
Because it's
talk.
one life. It's one life, and we are all connected. You
Yeah.
understand? So we have to be at a state where we understand those things. You know what I
Love
mean?
life, you know.
Understand?
Overstand.
Yeah, man.
In a
It'll take a
stand.
lot. Though. It'll take a lot.
It
Don't
take
take a lot
it
to know
take
for you,
it
but
take a lot, but
it's
we
necessary,
still
man.
have to continue to reach that
No,
space.
listen. Again, we live in a duality. With one, there's another. There's
Yeah,
always this and that. That's we live in a
yin and
dual
yang.
nature, so there's always this and that all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And the reason why is even when they present this and that, you're thinking it's two different things. But it can be because the this and that is always based on one thing
One thing. Yeah,
all the time. But yet in your mind, it's two things they're talking about. They're
different
talking
things.
about this and they're talking about that. But no, this and that is always about one thing. So what do I say? We would have to come to that understanding of
Fullness, yes.
oneness. We are not there. Human development has blocked that type of understanding. That's why we see these things happening. And maybe in the future, right? You might have societies that are actually holistic and living like that, right? But no, right now, in the period that we live in, we are not there, but we mustn't stop trying. We are not
Yeah,
saying
but
The,
but
stop
the,
the
you know,
work
trying.
the work the work
Yes.
continues, and the work
continuous.
the work is
Yes.
going on. The work
Yes.
continues because
The,
that is space we want to do. We just understand life, and we say life is
Yes.
is one is
It's
one thing.
one.
You know, is
It's
one.
one
You know.
thing.
Yeah,
the
like
Men
only
are
way,
confused. We're
mm,
confused.
the only way we can see societies like that is through the small actions presently
True.
taken that's gonna generate future societies like that. So this is
Micro.
why we're saying, this is why we're doing our part as the perfect balance tribe class to say, we're calling for this, that some consideration has to be given to this. They might not look on our views as in, this is worthy of consideration. But I'm saying if you have a love for humanity, if you have a love for this planet that we call
love
home,
for life.
you understand? If you
Life.
have a love for life, then you must see that this is something that has to be addressed. And we have to do everything in our power. Even though we've agreed that this is a natural occurrence within life, right? But we have to come up with a way of dealing with this natural occurrence, So, give thanks for the reasoning. We don't really want to try it out too much. So do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we upload. And do remember we're on the road to 1K. I think we hit another landmark, which is probably another 100. So let's keep it moving, chart classes, and let's go. Give thanks.
Give time for life.
Yeah, man.
I said the perfect balance, third class. I don't know, say a Chuck for the living for this represents. Good over evil, me tell them see a life over death. I swear, said I will never switch. Keep the fire burning out. Holy Manuel I Selassie, Jah, blazing fire.